Welcome to Career Elevation, where we make hiring easy.
We're two formal dental nerds who turned recruiters who've seen the good, the bad, and the you won't believe this moments.
If you're ready for better hiring, better teams, and better vibes.
You're in the right place. Let's elevate your dental world and have a little fun while doing it. So, how I kind of want to start this podcast off. I know you're all new here. Thanks for joining us. I'm Destiny, and that's Wendy, like we said. But I'm going to ask Wendy a question, kind of let her give the vibe off of it, and then we'll just chat back and forth and see what you guys think. So Wendy, obviously you started Career Elevation. I joined you a little bit later, but what really made you realize that this was the path you wanted to take? You wanted to be a recruiter and you wanted to help offices hire.
That's a good question. I was a dental assistant and I was in an office that it was just like, this is the terrible office. This is like the worst office in town. And I remember thinking like 6 weeks into it, because it took me a little bit of time. The doctor was super nice in the beginning. And then I was like, man, this guy is just getting worse and worse. And so in my head, I was like, Wendy, you have to make it at least 8 months. 8 months, that's it. And then it's not going to look so bad on your resume. And then from there, like my next boss was fantastic. But I just know that there's a lot of offices out there that are not great. So I ended up making a Facebook group for my local area for dental jobs. And I remember doing that because I was trying to hire. And I was like, how can I make hiring free? How can I make it easier? And so a Facebook group at the time, because it was a million years ago now, 10 years ago now, um, it was like the next best option to hopefully gather people in the same kind of area that we could all talk about things. And from there, I got people messaging me all the time, both offices and candidates saying like, Wendy, I really don't like this office because of X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, man, nobody deserves to feel like this. I felt the same way that you're feeling, and I don't want you to feel like that. I don't want anybody to feel like that. And so eventually, like my husband, I would come home and I'd be like, oh my God, Mo, I got 3 people hired this week and I'm so excited. And he's like, cool, you gonna turn it into a business or something? And I'm like, no. And then like after like a year or two or three or four, I don't even remember how many now. I think about 3 years. Then I finally figured out like what I was gonna do, because there's no recruiting in dentistry. Like there's no recruiters. Did you know any recruiters
Yeah.
before this, pretty much?
No. Honestly,
Yeah.
when I chatted with you, I was blown away. I was like, this is cool.
Yeah, yeah. And so eventually I figured out what I was going to do, and then like the rest is history. But that's kind of my path of why career elevation is what it is and why I became a recruiter. I was actually just looking at a study last night, and it said that 6% of recruiters actually enjoy their job. Isn't that wild? I love this job, and all of the
I have
people that I've
fun.
had working for me all say that they like it, but I think it's the energy. I
I,
think that
th- I
makes a big
think
difference.
it's the energy at any job, because I know when you and I first ever met, I we bonded over us having a very negative first experience in the dental field. Um, I just felt like I walked on eggshells in that office. As much as I learned, and I'm grateful for that, and I would never, no negative on that. Great dentist taught me so much, and I'm thankful. Very scary, I guess, in a way. I remember one time I made a mistake. He wanted me to go to a consult room with the new patients instead. He wanted to meet with them in a consult room instead of in the operatory. And it was like week two. I was there. I forgot, and I put him in the operatory chair. And then I realized it, and I was like, "Oh, you know what? Let's actually go back up to the consult room. I think that's probably a better environment for you to meet the doctor, and I think this will work better." Smooth it over. Patient was fine. Everything was great. He found that out, and he got so angry. He did not speak to me for a solid week. Just silent treatment in me. It was so awkward. I cried every night when I got home because I was so nervous. And I was like, this is not the place. Then obviously we moved, and I found a wonderful gem of a dentist who, I mean, treats you like a family. And there are places out there like that. And that's what I love about what we get to do is we interview the offices before we work with them. And I think candidates don't realize that you talk with them and you really decide like, hey, is this somewhere I feel comfortable placing somebody? Because you don't want to put them in an environment you and I were in.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we do our best due diligence to figure out the offices that we're working with, if they're good or not. And there's only so much of that we can do, but we've tried our best, right? And I think 9 out of 10 offices are good from
Yes.
the experiences that we hear afterwards. So I think the due diligence that we do ahead of time is accurate. And I think also Like I have said before, I think I have a good shit sniffer. Like I can tell if somebody's BSing me or not. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why, like when I'm in the initial sales call with the office, like I can tell, are you going to be good? Are you not? Are you just covering stuff up? Because I can figure that out real quick.
I actually told one of our VAs that the other day, when some scenario was happening and she messaged me. She was like, I don't know what to do. I was like, honestly, that's going to be a no. I was like, just first off, I was like, I can sniff out when something is not correct and this person's being shady. Just go ahead and pass. And she was like, I'm glad you have that sixth sense. I said, Wendy's is like 10 times mine, but I have gathered a lot of advice from her and realized like, okay, red flags are popping up everywhere. It's probably a red flag. It's probably on fire. Don't move forward. Stop. Red means stop.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, so you've been with me for almost 2 years now. What
Yeah.
skills from assisting do you think has best transferred into you becoming a recruiter from you being a dental assistant?
So I think for me, dental assistant was really, before I even got into dental assistant, I thought I was going to be a nurse. I wanted to care for people. I wanted to, be that person that they walked in and they were like, this isn't so bad because this person cares for me too. So when that didn't pan out and I fell into dental assisting, which thank God that happened, I love it. I really took that into that plate too because I didn't realize how many people are scared of a dentist. They don't want to go in there. They don't want to be, they're embarrassed. And at least I can transfer that feeling of like, hey, you don't have to be scared. I can care for you. I'm here. I want to be your friend too. Maybe not friend, but I want to know you and build that relationship together. And I feel like I've gotten to do that in recruiting and that's transferred over really well. Like I have people that, I interviewed when we first started, almost 2 years ago that I could still message right now and say, hey, are you looking for a position? Because I built that relationship with them in my conversations. I didn't make them feel belittled, which I think transferred over from assisting for me is just the caring for people. I'm still caring for people just in a different way. Now I'm caring about what you've done in the past and how this can transfer to an office. I'm caring about how you'll work it out in an office and how the office is going to work out for you because that was a big key thing I loved that you talked to me about when I first learned to do interviews is we're not here to put a butt in a seat. Obviously, that's great. I want to fill the position. I would love to fill it day one, but that person I interviewed day one may not be the right fit for that office. And the office might not be a fit for you. And I've seen that happen too. I've had to bluntly tell a candidate, you're wonderful. I don't think you'll love this office.
Yeah.
Let me find you somewhere better. And that's just, I think, transferred from assisting of like really caring about somebody.
Yeah. And I don't know why, like I've been in dentistry for 16 years now. I don't know why. I mean, it was probably like a year or two ago. I have had now a few dentists since this one person say it, or maybe it just finally clicked. But I had a dentist when I was interviewing once say, I love the fact that we get to instantly change and get somebody out of pain in such a short amount of time, where when you have a problem and you go to a medical doctor for your body, whatever is going on, how often can they actually get you out of pain immediately and fix your problem immediately? Usually it's drugs. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess chiropractor.
Hence me taking my kid to the doctor yesterday and she got Tamiflu. Like,
Yeah.
thanks.
Uh-huh. I mean, a chiropractor can probably get people out of pain, but I think dentistry is like the best in that sense. And I love that factor. I love that we get to help people nearly immediately, like within an hour or two, that they're either out of pain or we have fixed their entire smile. And sometimes it's literally just like smoothing off like a small little chip, but that patient thinks that it's like the biggest thing in the world, right? Like, and sometimes it's just one or two conversations with a candidate. We get them into an office and their whole world has changed now too. Like, how cool is that? It's so
I
great.
know. I think that's so fun. And I love when I think one thing that sets us apart as a recruiter is people don't usually work with recruiters. I've
Yeah.
seen that happen when people are like, I don't want to talk to you because you're a recruiter. Guess what? We're dental nerds too. We want to talk to you about dentistry. We are dental specific recruiters, which I know we've tried to put an emphasis on lately. So I hope this podcast puts an emphasis on that to offices who watch it. We know dentistry. We get to chat and talk about our experiences. So I think that's something I transferred over too is when somebody talks to me about their favorite procedure, I can be like, you know what, I either really loved that too, or wow, endo was not for me, as we know.
Yeah.
So that's fun for me. And I have a lot of candidates who like that when we talk about it. They're like, you know what, I love that you guys actually know dental and I'm not just talking to a robot. And I'm like, yeah, that this was my passion at one point and I've just transferred it over into a new type of passion.
Absolutely. I know. Isn't it so great? I love what we do.
Me too. But speaking of loving what you do, one thing that I have learned is, not everybody's gonna like you and not everybody's gonna want to work with a recruiter. And I've had to accept that, and that's okay. It's totally fine. But working with a recruiter, I have found to be super helpful for so many places. Obviously, when you started the business, scary moment. I can't even imagine how it felt for you to be like, "Hey, I'm gonna leave the workforce and I'm gonna open this business." What doubts do you feel like you really had when you started that?
Well, I hadn't ever talked to a recruiter. I had never been in corporate before, which usually when there's corporate,
Same.
there's recruiters. I hadn't ever taken any HR courses other than like a few CEs here and there. And I was like, Wendy, what are you doing? You have no idea. You haven't even read a book about recruiting. Why do you think that you can do this? Well, it all like obviously years passed. Now so much has changed. But when I first got into it was really just I see a need in the market. I see the passion that I have and that I want to be able to help other people. If I'm doing it so well and I don't have the understanding of what a recruiter is like and talking to other recruiters, if I already am doing this good of a job and not knowing what the heck I'm doing, I think I'm doing it right. But that was like the biggest thing is somebody's going to expose me. Somebody's going to like in a sales call when I'm talking to an office or a candidate that I'm interviewing, somebody's going to say, Wendy, what the hell are you even doing? You don't even know what you're doing. And nobody ever has said that. And I'm so grateful. But that was the biggest fear of mine in the beginning was somebody's going to quote find me out, right? Somebody's going to find out that I don't know what I'm doing. Somebody's going to find out that I hadn't ever taken any college courses. Somebody's going to find out that I'm not a CDA or an RDA, or somebody's going to find out that I don't have my FADOM or I don't know, DADOM or whatever it is with a D in the beginning, if that's how you pronounce it, for ADOM, right? Like somebody's going to figure out that I don't have all of these qualifications. But now, years down the line, I have taken so many courses and classes and read so many books and all of the things. Um, I did it right from the beginning. And it's just one of those like instinctual things. And I think that's why I like my doubts were there. But my husband's also a business owner. And so he was always like, Wendy, you've been doing this for years now. Why do you think that it's not going to work out now? So I did have doubts, but on the other hand, it was all like kind of in my head. So I did, but I didn't, you know?
I had doubts whenever, honestly, I remember reading, speaking of Facebook groups, I know we chatted about that a minute ago, how you started one and that's really how you built everything. You and I connected in a Facebook group. I had joined a remote dental billing group because I was like, maybe it should become a remote role. Obviously, being a military spouse, I move and it's not my choice and it sucks for me to lose my career in that aspect and have to leave the doctors and I hate that. But this, I was like, maybe I can do something remote. I didn't even know recruiting was on the table until I had joined the page maybe 3 days before you made that post in there. And I just happened to be scrolling. I was starting a new job at an endo office, which endo was just not for me. I can
Sure.
do it as an assistant level. It just was not my place. And I looked at it, I read it. I remember commenting saying I watched your video and everything. I was like, this is amazing. I've never heard of anything like this, but I love it. And I didn't send my stuff in right away. I waited like 3 days and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and just make this video. I'm gonna send it over. Who knows? Like, who knows what this is gonna turn into? I mean, thank God I did. Like, I can't imagine if I didn't. And I remember sending it and I don't know how quickly you watched the video, but within like a couple hours, you had messaged me and was like, hey, can you schedule an interview? And I was like, yeah. So we did that and then did our mock interview and stuff. And I was like, this is something I could really grow into and enjoy. Obviously, like you, I'd never done HR. I had been cross trained in front desk. I have a very bubbly, friendly personality that I like to connect with people on, which I have found not all offices love that. And that's okay. I can adjust.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
be very straightforward and corporate recruiter if needed. It's not my favorite way to be because
Yeah.
for me, I feel like I get people's best self when I bring out their personality. And if I'm
Yeah.
being personable, they become personable. Because I feel like 9 times out of 10, I know you see this when you call somebody on the phone, even though they know they have a phone interview, sometimes they answer like they're not happy I called. They'll be like, hello. I'm like, hey, is this so and so? They're like, yes. Who is this? I'm like, this
Why
is
so
Stephanie. We
sassy?
had a phone interview at this time, and which is fine. But then once I start talking to them, a lot of times they come out of that bubble and they open up. So I do feel I get the doubt thing. I had that.
They probably just think that we're going to be dry recruiters. Like I said, 6% of recruiters actually like what they do. Like that's wild. So 94% of recruiters that you talk to are probably just going to be that dry, like, here's my questions. Let's get it over with. Let's go, blah, 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 blah. Right? You know?
Yeah.
So, okay. So you found me in a Facebook group, which is wonderful. Do you have any other advice when you were looking for other remote roles? Do you have any other advice that you could give to assistants that are curious about going into maybe a non-clinical role?
I've had a lot of my friends reach out to me, and I wish I could help every single one of them get into a remote role. The crappy part is that remote is high demand, and I think a lot of people don't realize that. I know, obviously, we've been working with a remote dental billing company, and a lot of people apply. I mean, looking back, I think we've been through over 3,000 resumes for just that one company. People want
That's
to be
very
remote,
nice.
and so I've had to tell them, you have to tailor your resume to do that. So that's one thing I would have to tell my dental assistant friends or front office, like tailor your resume to what's going to work in the remote world. What have you done on the computer? What CE courses have you taken? Because I know we asked that question in interviews. People don't take CEs. People, if they're not mandated, front desk and dental assistants, a lot are on the job trained. You don't have to have, CEs to keep your license up to do these things. So they're like, I don't need to do it. Even office managers, which blows
I
my
know.
mind.
Which that also is a great intro. So sorry, but that's a great intro into we have 22 speakers lined up for
I
this
know.
year, and it's going to be released so soon. By the time this episode is out, it's probably going to be released. So you can also, wherever you're finding this information, you can probably figure out how to get to our website. I'm sure it'll be in the description box below. But
I'll put it in the description.
thank you. So we're going to have 22 speakers and in a variety of different topics. And so from clinical to the front office to what's going to work for DSOs or transitions and things like that. We also, I don't think you mentioned it yet, but we also, one thing that I really look forward to when I am doing interviews is to figure out what continuing education that they've taken, because I have found that the more educated or the more continuing education that a candidate has, the better that they're going to be in the interview and long term. Do you think so
And
too?
and you know what? I feel like the more education and stuff they have, like when I can see that on the resume, the likelihood that they no call no show me is way less.
Slim. Yeah.
I feel like that's something people don't realize is don't no call no show an interview. Just let me know you don't want to make it anymore. You can't make it. It's totally fine. I'm not going to be mad. I'm more
Yeah,
mad when I sit there and wait 15 minutes and you just don't respond.
that's for sure. Yeah.
But another thing I would say for, dental assistants and front desk and anybody trying to get out of a clinical role, hygienists even, because I know that takes a toll on their back and their hands and man, it's a lot, is make sure you're learning how to utilize different things on the computer. Because I remember getting on my first day and utilizing, I had obviously used Google Drive and stuff before, so that wasn't uncommon to me. But a lot of dental offices don't utilize things like that, especially
Yeah.
for the dental assistant. You're just utilizing the dental software. Familiarize yourself with that because you're going to be using some kind of different system that's not a dental system if you're working remote. Use AI. That's something I think we really need to say is get used to AI because especially if you're working remote, you're going to need to use it for something. I
Yeah.
know we use it all the time. Like if we have a random question about something like, what did you think about this? We talk to chat like it's our friend. And I'm so grateful for that some days. Or if I type up an email and I'm like, does this sound not nice?
Yeah.
So I'll ask chat, does this sound rude? And it'll tell me maybe you could change this to make it sound a
Yeah.
little bit nicer. But a lot of dental offices aren't utilizing AI yet, though I've been in chat with a friend I met at Do. Her name's Sarah and she works for Overjet. And I just chatted with her the other day because I've had multiple candidates talk to me about Overjet and how amazing the AI is in
Oh,
dentistry.
yeah.
And I'm like, wow, you guys go because I mean, I can only imagine how helpful that can be for dentists to say that area looks a little suspicious, but I'm not sure. Let me just watch it. But AI is going to tell you, hey, this
Yeah.
is this far into, you know, the layers of the tooth, and it's going to explain that to you. Do you need to fix it right now, or can we wait?
This isn't sponsored by Overjet, but
No,
it could be. Just kidding.
you know,
Talk to us, Overjet.
I just saw it was so cool that I had met her, and then all these people started talking to me about it. I was like,
Yeah.
mind blown. And I hope that becomes us. I hope that we chat with these people and they talk to people about us too. Because
I
when
hope
you
so
make
too.
those connections and those relationships, that's another thing. Build connections.
Networking.
I don't
Yeah.
care a rep comes into your office and is just talking to you about ordering supplies, build that connection with them. Keep their name and number on file, because you could go work for that supply company and get outside of the clinical role. There's so many different things. Colgate, Crest, all the
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. And there's also like even talking with those people, they're going to probably or possibly know about other opportunities out there that maybe aren't with their direct company, but they've heard of other things. And so if you have a good conversation with them, a good community between yourself and you do a really good job networking, networking is also on social media too. So make sure that you're on there in some form, some
Oh my
capacity.
gosh.
But
That's such a
so
big networking place is
I
Facebook.
know. I know. We're on Facebook all the time. LinkedIn is also great because I know there's a lot of people that have feelings about Facebook, but LinkedIn is also a really great networking place. There's also some different websites too that, like, for example, Do has a website that you
Yeah.
can connect with other people. They have a directory. Do is Dental Entrepreneur Women. And then they have two weekly meetings, do coffee chat, so you can talk with some other people like that. So, some advice to give to people who are potentially interested in non-clinical roles: get all of the continuing education, networking. You tell me what were the other things that you were mentioning too?
So continue education, networking, tailor your resume
Yes, yes, yes.
to reasons why you can work remote. Because a lot of times somebody's going to look at a resume. I know we do. We automatically look at a resume, and if it doesn't show the skills that are necessary, when it's a high demand role like a remote,
Yeah.
you're not going to move forward to the next round. There's 1,000 other people who have applied who do have those listed.
Yeah. Oh,
And
the
don't
other.
use an Indeed resume, please, for the love of
Oh,
God.
dear
I
God.
mean, just
Seriously.
make one on Canva or go to Etsy and buy one. I don't care.
Yeah.
Anything else.
Seriously. A Word document, I don't even care. Like Word document is always also fine. Another one that you had mentioned was making sure that you are getting education on not just your dental software,
Yes.
but educating yourself on Google Drive or Sheets. Google has courses for you to take to teach you how to use Google better. And then also YouTube has a million different things too. I mean, that's a handful of different tips and advice if you do want to get into a non-clinical role. We don't usually have non-clinical roles, but we can talk about them. But
Yeah.
if you want to reach out, if we have a job that's open, feel free to reach out whenever you're listening to this. All right, friends, that's a wrap. If today's episode gave you a laugh, a tip, or maybe just a little bit of sanity, hit the follow and the share with somebody in dentistry who needs a tiny little miracle in their hiring life.
We've got more stories, strategy, and sass coming your way.
Until
Until
next
next
time,
time, stay
stay
elevated.
elevated.